So just to let everyone know that this is, again, going to be a recorded session so that we can provide it to you, our Manteca USD audience, later on. Okay, we're up to 13 attendees now. I'm very grateful, very excited that you've joined us tonight, and truly hope that it's a worthwhile experience for you. And don't hesitate to ask those questions, to chime in on the text messages and share what you think, what you want to know, how best we can help you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:29 and it's basically time to go ahead and get started. We have 13 attendees so far. My deep thanks for you who have chosen to join us tonight. This is a new thing we're trying with Manteca Unified. It's a part of our new technology, a part of our Microsoft adoption, this OneDrive for Business account, to allow us to reach out and talk to you, our audience in Manteca, Lathrop, French Camp, Weston Ranch, everybody. We are grateful that you're here, grateful that you're part of our district, and interested in helping prepare your child as best you can to use these tools more effectively. So my name is Peter Gale, and I am the technology coordinator for Manteca Unified, and I work in the Community Outreach and Innovative Programs Department. Tonight we're going to start with this slideshow presentation that is created in Microsoft PowerPoint. And one of the great things about PowerPoint is it has this neat plugin called Office Mix that lets your child be creative and practice the art of presentation as they record themselves, and they can even put it online and share it with friends and all kinds of things. So this presentation I'll be showing you where is available online as well as an Office Mix recording if you'd like to rewatch it in the future. So here we are, Family Technology Training with Manteca Unified School District, and our first Skype for Business event. On slide 2 here, we are strongly believing in Manteca Unified that the most important thing we can do is inspire student achievement. We want your son, your daughter, your children to truly feel that they make a difference and that they can learn in a way that is unique and effective for them. Now, a part of that is understanding what we're dealing with in the world today. We want our technology and our training, our education, everything to be relevant. And so we glanced recently at a 2013 IDC study on careers. And this study was looking at high growth and high wage positions in the United States up through the year 2020. So they're doing a 7-year predictive span and looking at where are the jobs going to be, high growth, high wage. As you can see here, I've circled both education. Of course, we need teachers too, and post-secondary teachers also, but lots of other areas where job growth is available. Now, in this study from IDC, they also looked at more than just what kind of jobs. They looked at the 20 most common skills that a labor force is going to need. And these are both important and widely required across the spectrum, not just certain types of jobs, not just certain areas, but pretty much everywhere. And there are some technology skills on the survey as well, but only a few that were mentioned by name. So these are the basic survey results. All of these graphs and charts, by the way, come directly from the IDC study. And they mentioned first and foremost, number 1, oral and written communication skills. That's where it's at. We need to help our students become better communicators. Number 2, of course, is being detail-oriented. That's why we show the steps in math. We have to make sure they're getting it right. They're paying attention to detail. Now, if we go ahead and click here, we zoom in a little bit and we see some more that kind of show up that are kind of interesting. Notice right there at number 3 comes in Microsoft Office. And just a few steps down the ladder at number 8 is Microsoft PowerPoint, and at number 11 is Microsoft Word. Now, kind of interesting that amidst all these other soft skills, kind of life skills, we have these software programs mentioned by name. And these are the ones that relate to every job. Now, if we glance closer at those just focused on the high growth and high wage jobs in the United States, those are the bars over here in yellow, and you can see that some of them have grown even larger. If we zoom in, that oral and written communication skills has gone off the chart. It's just so crucial in today's world. But what's amazing is that Microsoft Office opens up into number 2, second on the list. PowerPoint moves up from 11 to number 8, moves up 3 spots. And Microsoft Word is kind of about right where it is. It might even move down a little bit because of these other skills that show up that are crucial. And what's amazing about this is how many of them are related. So if we look here at the chart, we have, I'm going to borrow my pen tool, I think, and I like the red pen. Every one of these that have a little asterisk next to it are all focused on kind of the same thing. And so if we look at the problem solving, the working independently, PowerPoint, the project management, analytical skills, all these different items that have this asterisk are related to sort of the same thing. And that is that they are communication, integration, or presentation skills. These are huge. And of course, this software that we are talking about here, Microsoft Office, is that type of skill. So I want to emphasize this point, obviously, in summary, that 15% of these jobs that are mentioned in the study are explicitly, as part of their job requirements, explicitly stating they need people who come out to them with Microsoft Office skills. And it's so prominent that it was required more than 5 times as often as all their software combined. Now, what about all these other skills? How are we going to help them learn these? How are we going to help them become detail-oriented and problem-solving and self-starting? I don't know if you struggle with that, but sometimes I have a hard time getting my own children to be self-starting. To keep organized, to work independently, to manage big projects, all of these kinds of skills that require a little more effort are sometimes harder to teach. And so one of the ways that we think is one of the best solutions we've come across in many years is Microsoft OneNote. Now, OneNote is a database program. It's a personal database that gives the ability to have any information you've got available. There we go. Okay. Deeply appreciate everyone's patience, and hopefully, despite the glitches, overall this is a good experience and we can get something out of it together. So here we are on the welcome page in the OneNote notebook that you can again download from antiquausd.net. And I've made a few changes just today that I'm going to be uploading to the version that's available online as soon as the session is over. And that includes here on the second page in this section, we have the training outline. That is what I'm going to be covering. Now, of course, I have a paper copy for me. And I don't know how many of you have ever experienced this, have been in education, or even the workday, the average workday. You might say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to get so much stuff done, and then realize there just isn't enough time in the day. So if I scroll down here, there's plenty of content for us to talk about. I'm probably not going to get anywhere near it all because I have to make sure that I be patient and allow the screen to keep up with what I'm doing. But lots of things that OneNote can do. And all of these concepts, all of these amazing tools are things that you can learn from a video series that Microsoft has also produced. Of course, tonight I'm giving my own spin on it, but that Microsoft has produced that is available here at the top of the page. And this section here at the top of the page, OneNoteForTeachers.com. And of course, this is the student section that we hope that you will look at with your students. Now, before I go too much further, I do have to zoom in a little bit to share one other thing we're very excited about, and that's the link that's here highlighted in yellow, which will be, of course, widely promoted here shortly on mantiquausd.net. But we have our new college strategy guide that is also a OneNote notebook, we've prepared, with the help from the counselors of our high schools, something we think that you and your high school bound student will find to be very helpful as they plan and prepare for that daunting task and process of applying for college and making sure they have everything they need to be successful as they make that step in that part of their journey. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Okay, so we've already covered the notion that there is OneNote available on all kinds of different devices. And to illustrate that point, one of the live demonstrations, I like to show this little feature that if I come down here to questions and answers, I'm just going to leave my mouse just sitting there. So you can see in the screen that my mouse is not moving. And I'm going to switch over to my cell phone. And my cell phone also has this same notebook on it. The point being that if your child has a smartphone, or if you have a more realistic situation, or just as viable situation, if you have a home computer that you want to use to keep track of your child's learning, then when you have a notebook in one location and another location, because they are online, they are synchronizing in the background. So I have an iPhone here in my hand. I'm going to hit the little microphone button on the iPhone, and I'm going to say something like, "Hello everyone, comma, I really appreciate the fact that you are patient with me tonight as we're doing our first ever Skype for Business family technology training, period. Thank you for being here tonight, period." And so I just spoke that into my cell phone, and in a moment, the wonders of the internet are going to synchronize this item. It's item number 8 there on the notebook, and it's going to populate that. Even though my cursor is not moving, I'm not typing, it's simply going to add that content as it synchronizes across the cloud to show you that even though I spoke the device on my cell phone, it is doing the content and adding it in. Now, because obviously we have a lot of network traffic, it might take it a second, but one of the beauties of OneNote that we are very excited about is in the OneNote class notebook, when your child interacts with the OneNote and then your teacher interacts with the OneNote, in the background, everything is synchronizing. Everyone has a chance to see what everyone else is doing, and it's really a beautiful thing to have kind of instant feedback and learning going on back and forth in that manner. So there you can see that the note did populate. And to answer your question, your comment, Stephen, I turned off the camera to try to improve bandwidth because we think it's more important to show you the desktop than my silly face. So anyway, there we have, of course, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in case you missed that, but that's the comment that I added there with my cell phone. Now, like a lot of the other Microsoft Office tools, this wonderful little feature pops up whenever you interact with text and gives the user immediate access to basic formatting tools, which of course is also very helpful in the world of capturing information and creating meaning with it. So on our agenda, one of the first things I want to mention to you is how you can make this OneNote app, this OneNote 2013 app, more effective and inviting for you. So since I'm presenting my desktop, I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button and go to the start screen. Now, as you can see here, I have the OneNote 2013 little button that is over here on my start screen, but let's pretend for a moment that I don't, that maybe your child has not yet done this little step. So if I right click and unpin this from start, of course the little icon there disappears. So I want to show you that if you, like us, believe that OneNote is a very powerful and crucial tool, and if this is not the case on your child's device or your home computer, you can simply click the little arrow down there, or of course swipe up. You scroll over until you find the app in question, and of course this works not just for OneNote but for any program on your Microsoft device. And down at the bottom there you see we have OneNote 2013 as the screen refreshes. And if I go ahead and right click that, I can pin it to start or pin it to my taskbar, those kinds of things, so that I always have the tool ready to go. Now, another fun thing about this is new programs always end up over there on the right. But what's great is you can simply click and hold or press and hold with your finger on your child's tablet and move it to a new location. So I could move it over there, or I could swipe over with my finger and put OneNote back where it really belongs, at the top of the learning experience. So just a quick little note there of how you can pin to taskbar and make that function for you. Just a reminder to everyone, we are recording tonight, so if there is something that you missed, hopefully the recording quality is a little faster than the screen lag if you're experiencing any lag, and you should be able to review the content we talked about. Okay, so in addition to pinning the app to your start screen, or pinning it to your taskbar, which of course is this area down here at the bottom is the taskbar, you can also customize your OneNote experience to decide what you want to be visible or for your child. Now, one of the most common questions is, well, how do I keep track of all those notebooks? So up here on the left, where it says Family Technology Training, is the notebook that I'm currently looking at. If we click on that, you can see I have some others there. Now, if I want to be able to more quickly and easily jump from one notebook to another, this little pin icon right here, it does the same thing. It pins to keep those notebooks open on the left-hand side so that I can more easily be reminded of where my information is at and find it more quickly. But of course, if we do that, it's going to take up a little bit of space there on the left. Similarly, we have the ribbon across the top. Now here on the home screen, I have all these various tools, and that's pretty helpful, pretty important. But if you feel like it takes up a little too much room and you want your child to really kind of be immersed in their notebook, well, you can do the same thing. You can unpin or close that top area with that little guy there. Now, how do we get it back? Pretty easy. We simply go ahead and touch the item we want. For example, if we were going to draw, then we get the draw menu that pops down and this familiar icon, the pin on the right hand side, that lets us pin that ribbon. There's even the shortcut key that hopefully you can see there, Control plus F1, to keep it open if your child is constantly accessing certain tools that they want to use on a regular basis. Now, I personally prefer the screen space I had here on the left, so I'm going to unpin the notebooks and get that back. And we are back in this typical environment. Now, one of the things that is extremely helpful, I think, is when you're in the zone and you know what you're doing and you're capturing information, especially if you're doing it by handwriting, you may not want any of the navigation tools. And that's this little friend right here, our little arrow that goes to full page view, which allows us to hide everything else and just focus on our content in kind of an immersive way. It gets everything else out of the way and we are ready to just learn, to work, to do whatever we've got to do. And yet we still have the navigation to go to other locations if we need to with a simple drop down arrow. So we just feel that's kind of important to know the basics of that. You can customize your environment to make it work for you. Now, this view is typically the way I like to work with OneNote, and in a variety of devices. I work with it on my Surface Pro 3 tablet that I'm using today. I also work with it, of course, on my desktop. It's a great program for everything. You don't have to have a touchscreen device to use OneNote effectively, which is what I wanted to show you with the internet. So we've had some good success with our internet being able to show the screen to you. So I'm going to switch for a quick moment back to Internet Explorer and show you something I think is absolutely crucial in order to help you keep track of what your child is doing and in his classroom or her classroom so that you can know what's going on and be focused on that. So I'm going to click back here to Internet Explorer and go to this little site called Office 365. Now, this web page is linked on several places on manticausd.net, but it's a very easy address to remember. If you can kind of see it in the top left corner there, it's simply portal.office.com. and very, very easy, portal.office.com. And now here you can see it says, hello, Jonathan. So I'm logged in right now as Jonathan. And this is a way for me as the parent, even though I'm not looking at his tablet, for me to log in with his online credentials, which is pretty easy. It's just his username and password that he uses himself. Obviously, you could ask them to give you their own tablet and look at it, but this is a great way for you to kind of monitor and keep track of things on other PCs at home, or even on your work break if you want. So his username is just his email address, which is his student number at MUSD.net, and then his password is his birth date. No slashes or anything weird like that, just the numbers. And up here at Office 365, we can look at all of his content and all of his teacher's content. Now, one of the most generous things about Office 365 is that we have the ability to install Microsoft Office on other devices at home. We have purchased and negotiated with Microsoft so that you have up to 5 installations on your devices, whether it be your home desktop, your home laptop, whatever it is you want to do. You can connect and see, download. It's great because, frankly, Microsoft Office is a very powerful program, Office 2013, and of course the recently released Office 2016, but it is a little on the expensive side. And I think the professional edition runs something like $500+. So it's pretty nice that Microsoft has allowed us 5 installations for you and your family. You simply would click the Install Now button on the device you have. Of course, you don't need to do that for your student's device because it's already installed there. Now, as you can see, we have these buttons here. And you can also, if you don't have that button there, you can click on the top left. We have what's called the waffle, kind of a fun name. And that pops open the same button so that no matter what page you're on, you can get there. Now, in Jonathan's OneDrive is the place where he keeps his files. And this is a very generous storage that Microsoft has provided. It's 1 terabyte or 1,000 gigabytes that have whatever storage you might want, your files, your presentations, your pictures, whatever you want to put there. But what's key here is the files in this area are Jonathan's files. Now, these are ones that he has created, including his own OneNote notebook right there. But what's just as important is this little guy over here on the left called Shared with Me. Now, these are the files that his teachers have created, or if he's working with a peer, that they have created to share with him. For example, this character chart he was working on with a fellow student. But this one is kind of a fun notebook, and that's his Algebra 1 notebook. I love his math teacher because he's very effective at connecting with his students and putting the content they need and keeping us up to date as parents. Now, I already have that notebook open, so I'm going to click the second tab over here. And this is Jonathan's homework for today. And so really simple. What his teacher has done is he simply typed in right in the title heading there, today's date, or I guess this is yesterday's date. And he mentioned that this is the homework assignment, numbers 19 to 41, and he wants them to do all of them. Now, there are some limitations to, obviously, lesson design. If you don't, I don't know, if you haven't played with this much, and I'm not trying to blame his teacher, I think it's wonderful he puts it here, but this is a great way that Jonathan can customize his own learning and take it a step further. Because this page here in front of us is really designed to be, in a traditional math book. It's an 8.5 by 11, and all of the problems are kind of crammed together, and there isn't much room to do really anything. It's one of the things that, someone sometimes needs a little more space, a little more room to actually write and capture their ideas. And so if I switch back to the notebook, I want to show you a way that Jonathan can customize his learning to make it more effective in math. So if I go back to the notebook here, I'm going to switch to my math tab. At the top, right after welcome, I have the math page, and I have some sample pages in math here. But if Jonathan was going to do his homework tonight, and if he wanted to do it in his OneNote class notebook, which of course has a slightly different navigation to it, but it's the same principle applies, he has his sections here, but over here on the right-hand side, he has his pages. And no matter what page he's on, he is able to, interact and work with it as he wants to. So one great way I think Jonathan could do this is simply click Add a Page, and maybe he'd put his name on it, and maybe the assignment, maybe something like homework 9-28, and then this is the part where it gets fun. Now what he's going to do is allow himself some space to work with this content. He is going to use what's called the insert ribbon, and he's going to insert what's called a screen clipping. Now the screen clipping lets him capture anything from the web or from another app and allows him then to focus his learning on precisely what he wants to work on. And so if I click the screen clipping button, or as you see there's a shortcut, Windows key plus Shift plus S, then it's going to hide OneNote, and it's going to pull up from underneath it the web page that I was just looking at. Now, it was bright there for a second, and then it went gray. And when it's grayed out, I hope you can see that he has these little crosshairs. And the great thing about this is, with the crosshairs, he can then select precisely what he wants to capture. So in this case, if the problem he has been assigned is numbers 19 through 41, well, if you look here, he has this section right here. And if I click and hold, I can just select those questions, numbers 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and click and hold to select it and then let go. And what that does is it puts it back into OneNote. And if I zoom in a little bit, we now have the picture of what he just grabbed. And what's exciting about the screen clipping tool, which I am severely addicted to, is it gives a title, it gives a time and date, it even okay, everybody, I do appreciate the feedback. I'm going to try to slow down a little bit. Yes, the crosshairs is the plus sign. It's the number one problem I have in the classroom too. I like to go fast. I will slow it down. Okay, this clipping he just took, it gives him the time, it gives him the date, it gives him a picture of that section, that little piece of the math book, and then he is able to, with this little container, the four dots here at the top, he can click, he can reposition it somewhere else on the page if he wants. He can, if he needs to, grab the little side and kind of pull it back in to resize the box and make it smaller so that the link kind of hides a little bit. But most importantly, he can change it from the metaphor of the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and he can make it easier for himself to actually answer this and do this work. So whether he were to type and put number 19, period, notice that all I had to do was click a place on the page and I can just start typing. He can go ahead and put it there and maybe hit the space bar and type his answer. He can, if he wants to, use his ink and grab one of his pens and go ahead and start working out the answer that way. Now, I am not a math guy, so I am not going to pretend that I am ready to solve this problem in front of you. But the point is, you can customize your learning with the use of screenshots to grab precisely what you want and make it more focused for your child and their experience. One of the beautiful things about this is OneNote, kind of like Microsoft Excel, has an infinite canvas. So we are able to go as far to the side if we want to. We can zoom in really tight here and make everything smaller and have lots of room over here on the right hand side to use as much room as he wants. We can make more space going down. There's plenty of room in this wonderful environment for him to make it flexible for his learning. And even if the teacher has provided just a file printout, which is what that page of the math book is called, he can still function, he can still create and craft his own learning environment to his needs, which is really what this is all about. It is his notebook and what he needs to do with it. Okay, so when it comes to text, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other math pages. Here we have another teacher who has provided some content, and they have here graph paper. And the graph paper is very easy to pull up to give your child kind of a background to work against so that you can create this learning. And so that's found under the View menu. And as you can see, this has already been selected for this particular page. And if we click on the rule lines, it'll show you that the grid lines background has already been chosen. Whether it's college ruled paper, whether it's really wide ruled paper for your K-8 students, whether it's various kinds of grids, you can make it your own. And if you wanted to, of course, you could simply change the rule size and make it like that, for example, which may not perfectly line up with the XY axis, but it gives him a way to get started with it. Speaking of math, since we're here, one of my favorite features that I think is sometimes underused in the classroom is back over here on the Draw menu. And some of the shapes that OneNote provides for us, that Microsoft provides, are these graphs that you can place right on the guide, on the grid lines. So if I take a standard X and Y graph like so, I can go ahead and click, and just like that, line it up to where I want it to be. And I've created myself some crosshairs that I can move around, that I can then do my graphing work and be ready to go. So a very powerful tool, being able to use graph paper, being able to use the screen clipping and make the page your own to have it do whatever you want it to do. Let's go ahead and glance at the questions and see if there's anything that is urgent that has not yet been answered. Okay, it has been mentioned the Manteca quick tip videos, which is something we hope will become a little more popular. They are available at mantecausd.net, and we try to cover a lot of different topics. We had some recent contributions we'll just be adding here in the next day or two from our IT department that cover device care and some of the other issues that students want to know. So it is a collaborative effort, similar to our video that we did last year. But we're trying to keep them very short and very focused on the learning and helping everyone be more effective with that. So with text, we've already mentioned the ability to do basic formatting. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. If I wanted to have my graph here and wanted to label it, I could touch out here outside the graph and, for example, I don't know, do the label of, I don't know, trends in sales. And because it is a text box, just like anything else, when I let go of my mouse like that, the items pop up that allow us to format. So I can use things like bold or underlining, or even pop in a style if I'd like and make it kind of really stand out. I can also reposition it. So if I need to have it be up here, and then maybe I were to grab my pen, maybe a green one this time, up there in the top left, and maybe we're going to think positive that although trends might have gone up and down a little bit, maybe they lately have been done really well. And that way we are incorporating multiple tools. We have a shape that is the crosshairs we've placed on there. We have the text box, and we have the drawing, all working together to communicate something to our teacher to show that we have done some learning. Okay. Now, with all of these objects, and no matter how it is you're interacting with it, one of the keys is to understand the structure of the class notebook. And so the class notebook is a great way that we can interact with our students. And so just to show you a sample class notebook, a quick little 2-second deviation. If I switch from this Family Technology Training Notebook, I have a sample class notebook here called Read 180 that we made for some of our students. And now, if I go back up like this is kind of what a sample class notebook looks like that we hope some of you have seen before with your students. And the basic format is we have the content library, and the content library is where the teacher is going to, whether they have some hyperlinks to organize it like this, or they keep it focused here on the side, the teacher is going to create the content. But here in the content library, the student would not have the ability to write. All of these drawing tools and such would be grayed out, because the teacher places it in the content library and the student needs to get it from the content library and put it in their notebook. So if this particular fun assignment, executive branch wraps, I don't have much wrapping ability myself, but it might be a fun creative thing to do, to learn, but also create something entertaining. They would take their finger and simply press and hold, and what pops up is the simple little tool to move or copy. There's even a shortcut there, Control-Alt-M. So when they hit the move or copy tool, it's going to look like this. It's going to ask, well, where do you want to put that? Which notebook are you going to put it in? So if they use that particular methodology, then if I come down here and find the Read 180 notebook, I can be this student, Alexis Hernandez Brown, for example. Now if I open up her notebook, and of course this is the teacher's view because the teacher can see every child's notebook, the child only sees their own notebook, but I can go ahead and click the homework section and copy that information to it. Now the student then, from their view, what they would do is go back over here and we'd find Alexis's notebook, and of course in her book it's only going to show hers and the content library and the collaboration space. And now in homework we have this new page we just copied called the executive branch, which she is then able to interact with, to write on, to demonstrate her learning to the teacher. So that's kind of the central metaphor, if you will, that we need your student to understand and you as the parent to understand, that if you don't see something in your child's notebook, it's quite possible that it's in the teacher's content library. This is also a very powerful tool when a when a teacher has, how do I put this? Say a teacher has assigned something and the student is absent, or they're on a field trip, or maybe they missed some content due to a special event, then they can go back to that content library and get it even if they weren't there physically in class. Now please understand, we are not, and we never would, endorse just skipping class. The kids need to come to school. But it's a powerful way to help those who get a little behind or want to have some help in getting what they need. Okay. So that's the basic paradigm there of the class notebook. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the Family Technology Training notebook over here. All right. Now, there are other events that I do want to take a moment to mention that I think is absolutely crucial to understand. Is we do have tech chats on Twitter. And it's something that we did quite a bit last year, and we will be announcing, our level of involvement with them this year and the time and date. All of that will be given out. But if you haven't tried one of our tech chats yet, you could search the phrase in Twitter. They're quite engaging. It is content that's worth knowing. If you know Twitter, then you search with the hashtag PTBM Tech Chat. And if I go ahead and highlight that text and make it, don't need to highlight both, just that one, and make it nice and big so you all can see it. Let's be loud and be proud. There we are, PTBM Tech Chat. That stands for Proud to Be, M, short for Manteca, and Tech Chat. So if you search that on Twitter with the hashtag PTBM Tech Chat, you'll be able to see everything that was said by our teachers in the past and have an idea of the types of things, the questions we've asked, and the culture we're trying to make and change here at Manteca Unified to empower our teachers and our students with what they need. Okay, so one of the really powerful tools I want to show you also here on the same page is that if you decide you made a mistake and you need just a little bit more room, here's a child who has got all this great stuff about graphing. They've written this stuff in red and they really want to get it right, but they need more room in the notebook. And it's kind of a pain to go back and grab every single little object and move it. So up on the left here under the Insert menu, we have this wonderful tool called Insert Space. And that's all it is. It's giving you some room, giving you some space to work. So if I decided maybe right here above where it says to graph a point, maybe right there, that I needed just a little more room to really say something. Then I can take this Insert Space tool, and while that is selected there on the left, I simply push and position my cursor where I want, and that didn't quite work. Let's try it again with my finger instead of my pen. I position my cursor where I want, and it just lets me move down to get things out of the way and leave some blank room there, which allows, of course, more information to be captured, and it goes across the entire notebook, makes it really easy to, again, customize learning space to what works best for them, because that's really what it's all about. How can they learn more effectively? So that's the Insert Space tool. Now, tables are a great way to organize information. The next one there on the Insert menu, that's really, really fun and important for a user to organize things vertically, horizontally, to keep stuff in a way that makes sense to them. So just like the other Microsoft Office apps, if I have a box maybe right there, and I go up here and you just pick what squares you want. Maybe you're going to go, oh, why not? Let's start with 4 across and maybe 3 down. And it pops in a table. And just like other programs in Microsoft, you can type a header, like maybe I wanted to organize a class project. So we're going to say name. If I hit the tab key, it jumps to the next cell, role, date, evidence, or something like that. And if we keep on going, what's beautiful about it, you can hit the tab key and it's going to automatically add new rows to give more information. Very powerful tool to have tables built right into OneNote. Now, notice here at the top, all of the other fun little tools that help us make it, again, make sense. We can add rows, delete rows, we can insert rows, we can change the shading, we can even convert it to an Excel spreadsheet. Ooh, very advanced tool there. And like everything else, you can rearrange, move it to make your learning flexible as you're working. Another one in the Insert menu that I think is absolutely crucial is file printouts and file attachments. So let's show you a sample of those. If I jump over here to English, this little item is a file printout. The teacher went ahead and inserted this object, and if we touch it there, that's what it is. It's an object on the page. And the beautiful thing about file printouts is kind of like Adobe Acrobat files or PDF files. You can have the content there ready to go, and it looks the same way it did before. Now, this is important because we need our students to demonstrate their meaning in a variety of ways. And so on the Draw menu, we have not just pens, but we have highlighters. And if the student wants to use this traditional, yellow, green, blue, whatever, then they can go ahead and grab the yellow and highlight what they think is important. Maybe, for example, the idea that apes do not have tails, or maybe the idea that they live in many places, kind of a topical idea or the topic sentence there, and create meaning that way. What's also fun about these highlighting tools is when you overlap them, they have additional colors change. So if I want my yellow, for example, and maybe, side note, yes, I'm getting the idea. I need to slow down once again. Okay, I have this tendency. This is our first time. I really appreciate your patience, guys. So let's take a moment and cover some other things with that, because that's absolutely a crucial tool and certainly one of the most popular tools. So highlighting, just to illustrate, to finish that point, if I take my blue and I go over the top of it, it's now going to create green at the point of intersection. So a lot of people want to know about audio and video. And those are the really powerful, very powerful, fun things about OneNote. So let's go back to that Insert menu and talk about that. Okay, as has been mentioned in the comments, it's a very important, crucial thing that if you're going to record in the classroom, you have to ask the teacher's permission. Now, I think that our MUSD teachers are, for the most part, very comfortable with this and be certainly willing to let you do that as a student. And depending on where you are positioned in the room will kind of determine how much, how good the audio level is. And so if your student needs that additional help of a kind of on the continual basis of lots of audio reinforcement, you might ask the teacher yourself as the parent if they can be positioned closer to where the teacher typically stands when they are presenting, so they can use those audio recording tools. So it's also, of course, a brilliant way to use and demonstrate their own learning to the teacher and learning for their group projects, things like that. Now, ironically, or perhaps fortunately, at the top here we have a teacher who's actually used some audio directions, and this is a great way teachers can do the same thing and share some of their thoughts. So if I touch this file, an embedded audio file, they can hit the play button. I'm not sure how well the microphone will pick this up. We'll give it a shot. If I briefly disconnect my headphones, so that hopefully the microphone will pick it up.
Review the keywords below and then type your prediction for what you think the story is going to be about in the box.
So the beautiful thing about this is that, go ahead and plug my headphones back in, that we have the ability as teachers, as educators, that we can capture directions for the child, and they can kind of do the same thing in giving some feedback to the teacher. So let's show you that concept very quickly here. If I come back to that insert menu, I'm no longer selecting that particular audio file. Just like anything else, we can do multiple objects on the page with audio recordings. And what's fun about OneNote is it captures what you're doing at the time that you are recording the audio. So if I go ahead and hit record audio, then it's instantly going to put this little file there that says student A, and it's recording right now. It's capturing what I'm saying, and if I choose to do things like say, maybe I'm using the ink to demonstrate, we think it's interesting that the ape, let's go back to a different color, maybe my black, the ape is more or less erect. He's up and down like that. And it's also kind of interesting that his feet and his hands seem to have some similarities to it. And it's amazing to me how big they are. If we choose a highlighter, it's incredible that the ape is able to have such long, powerful arms. Now, when you're done recording, if you hit stop, then the recording is finished and it stays embedded right there in the notebook. Now, when we hit play of the recording, you're going to watch it select the drawings I just did as it plays. So I'm going to disconnect my headphones one more time and see how this goes. So we select the audio object there, and I hit play, and watch what happens on the screen as the audio plays.
And it's instantly going to put this little file there that says student A, and it's recording right now. It's capturing what I'm saying, and if I choose to do things like say, maybe I'm using the ink to demonstrate, we think it's interesting that the ape, let's go back to a different color, maybe my black. The ape is more or less erect. He's up and down.
And so it selected the arrow.
It's also kind of interesting that his feet and his hands seem to have some similarities.
In time with the audio.
And it's amazing to me how
now let's say they stop, and the teacher just wants to know what was the child saying with just this particular object. If they select just that object, just the yellow highlighting, and hit that play button,
it's incredible that the ape is...
it jumps to that spot of the recording so that the meaning is captured there. Now, of course, the video recording power is amazing as well. Video recording is truly a powerful tool, and let's show you that simple concept. If I hit record video, because I am using this video camera, well, actually, it's capturing the back of my Surface Pro. And so it's not exactly the right camera, but if I move it around a little bit, you see, hey, there's a tripod and whatnot in front of me. And if they hit stop, then it can change that. Of course, they can use the settings there to switch which device they are recording from. So if I change the device to the webcam and click OK, and if I go ahead and close that and hit record audio or record video again, this time it should capture me. How's it going, everybody? Appreciate your patience and hope that you're having a good experience here with us in our first ever Skype chat. So enough of that. The video recording tool is amazing, it's powerful, and it gives them the feature where it shows up right down here, and they can now play that back at any time. So whether it's the front camera of their tablet or the rear camera of their tablet, it's a great way to capture what's happening and to make it possible for the child to demonstrate their learning in a variety of methods and a variety of styles. Okay, we're coming up on 7:30. Let's take a quick look at other questions and see if there's anything else that I have missed. I'm going to have to rely on my helpers a little bit because the computer I'm using here to preview the stream is getting really low and starting to die, and I don't think I brought the power supply for it. Oops. So gentlemen in the back room, my sons, my little wizards, if one of you on your tablet has the presentation up and running, I need you to quietly bring that in and let me use your tablet as my preview page to see these questions. So if you could please do that. Again, everybody, I appreciate your patience. All right, so we've talked about a lot of things tonight, and I've been told more than once I'm going a little too fast. I hope that you are getting something out of this as we look at the various ways that OneNote can powerfully capture learning and demonstrate what it can do. Okay, now, one of the things we do want to remind you of and help you understand is that in everything in Manteca Unified that we are doing, we are trying to promote positive culture and more technology use across the board. But teachers are learners too, and all this technology is brand new. We started deployment just back in January of this year, of 2015. And every tool takes time to learn to use and integrate into the classroom. So we do hope that you find something worthwhile from this. Maybe you share it with your student. If your student is watching or participating, then they can also be able to, share some of the ideas back with their teacher, back at the classroom, and be an agent for change. I know that's something that Jonathan has already experienced in his English class, where he found something and figured it out that his teacher really enjoyed. In fact, that's a piece I'd like to demonstrate now. So if I move this video out of the way, this object is a picture, basically. It's kind of like a PDF, but not exactly. And let's say you needed that text, that you desperately wanted to get something out of that information and be able to do something with it. So one of my favorite features that I discovered recently, or was shown recently, is that if you press and hold on one of those file printouts, you can actually copy text from the picture. Right up here at the top, you can copy it, and then if you choose to click over here and paste, we now have the same text extracted from the file printout from the photo. And the same thing even works with a camera. If your child uses the device camera, they take a picture of something and then they go ahead and place it into their notebook. If they give it just a little bit of time, the optical character recognition engine will capture that information and decipher it as best it can, and as long as it's legible, they will have results that are highly effective for the child to then manipulate the text and do something with it. In learning to be exploratory and artistic in nature, there has to be the ability to have some flexibility when it comes to that. Yes, Stephen.
Hijack John's tablet so I can actually look at it while he's going around. Like the comments.
Okay, well, be patient. All right. Again, this is our first time, so we deeply appreciate the opportunity and the patience of everyone as we are learning this new platform, this new tool. A very exciting tool, and just a quick shout out to our IT department, because they're the ones that helped set this up and engage it and make it functional for us tonight, so we appreciate their support. It's something that I deeply appreciate in Manteca Unified, is how effective our IT department works together with us to make things happen. They are a great team. Love it. Okay, so extracting text from a picture, very powerful feature, very nice. It's also kind of a fun feature that your child can own their learning a little bit and share with their teacher what they have done and when they did it. So if there's ever a contention or a concern about, well, when did you do that? When did it happen? I love the fact that you can put a date and time stamp on something. So I have this text box selected, and maybe I come down here at the end where it says line 84 and I hit the enter key a couple times, and I can click that date and time stamp, and that shows my teacher this is exactly when I did it. There shouldn't be any argument there. I did participate. It was done on time. This is when the homework was created. This is when it was accessed. There you go. A great tool that I think is very, very helpful. All right. Now, so the other things that is also great about this is, as an organizational tool, your child can create meaning to a lot of different things, a lot of different places. So we've already demonstrated earlier the take a screenshot to have learning from that, and it automatically puts the hyperlink in there. I want to demonstrate that one more time because a lot of our learning these days is reliant on the internet. So if I add a new page, it's a new blank page there at the top, and maybe I'll just call this page Research, and decide that I want to find out something more about those apes. And so, of course, I'm going to jump over here to the internet, and I'm going to use our preferred search engine that we strongly believe in, Bing, because Bing in the classroom is a powerful tool that offers an ad-free experience, that offers rewards for searching, offers beautiful photography, and really has a great way of giving students what they need. In particular, of course, our Bing lesson plans down here at the bottom. But if we're just doing a simple little Bing search and I want to know more about gorillas, water, both good and bad. Okay, so I have some great sites here about gorillas. We want to get beyond just good old Wikipedia. So maybe I'd come down here to mountain gorillas from National Geographic. That looks like a good page, a good reliable source. And I click it. And maybe I don't want the whole page, and maybe I don't want just a picture. Maybe I actually want some text from the page to put into my notebook to show my teacher I've got some learning going on. Oh, fun, we have a video loading. Let's go ahead and close that. I guess, web pages do have to be paid for by advertising. That's, a part of life. But if I scroll down here, we have some great photography, and we also have some other information we can use. So if maybe I just wanted this one little sentence about conservation, because conservation is a pretty crucial piece of the puzzle, and if I wanted that information, then maybe I'd say something like this. I'd simply click my cursor, I'd select the text I wanted. The sentence reads, many conservation initiatives are meant to aid mountain gorillas. It's believed the numbers may be steady or slowly increasing, but they continue to face major threats. Okay, so if I just wanted that little bit of text, I can copy that, and when I copy it to my clipboard, OneNote knows where it came from. So if I come back over here and have my OneNote page, when I paste, of course we have different types of formatting there, but if I just do a standard keep the formatting paste, then the beautiful thing about this is not only does it paste the information, the text I wanted, but it gives me my source as well. Citing properly is one of the things we definitely want to teach in the classroom and start fostering from a very early age, that no, you didn't get that information from Bing, as wonderful as they are. You didn't get it from Google. You got it from animals.nationalgeographic.com, which of course allows the child to go back to that web page by simply clicking on the hyperlink and knowing where they found that information. They can also hyperlink within the notebook to go from one page to another. Let's say, for example, they wanted to keep track of, and maybe the student A page that's poorly named, frankly. Let's rename it. Why not? Let's take a quick little moment. Instead of calling it student A, let's call it Apes Poem. Notice that over here on the right-hand side, it renames the page as well. And let's pretend that they want to hyperlink from their research page to their Apes Poem page to keep themselves organized and all the pieces of their project going. So here under Research, they can simply type in Apes page, or Apes Poem page, I guess. Apes Poem. And if we highlight that, we can go up to Insert a Link. And the kind of link, it asks you immediately, do you want to send it to an address like a web page somewhere on the World Wide Web? Great. Or do you want to go to one of your notebooks? And this is a very powerful way of ensuring you don't have to have redundant information, but you can keep track of exactly where you're going or where that came from. So if I come back down to here, Family Technology Training, and it's in the English section, and it's the Apes Poem page. And I click OK, and now that link is hyperlinked. So if I click on it, it's going to jump back to the linked page in question. Now, obviously, this is a not a very useful feature right there in the same notebook, but imagine linking from section to section, from page to page, wherever it is you want to go, keeping yourself organized and collecting your research as you go along. Okay, so that's one of the features we are hoping that teachers will also more widely use as they organize their learning and hyperlink from page to page to page. All right, now there's a wonderful word that I love dearly that sometimes I get chided for using too often, and that's the word modality. And it's a word that if I come over back here to my research page, I'm going to go ahead and type it on there. Why not? Modality. I accidentally had caps lock on. That's okay. Modality is the idea of how are you going to be modal or mobile or flexible in how you learn. And although our devices that we gave in Mentiq Unified have a keyboard, and that's great, and some people love their keyboard. I admit I'm a little addicted to my keyboard. There's a powerful thing in the pen. There really, really is. And so I wanted to demonstrate just two ways that your child, especially our younger children who may not have keyboarding skills yet, that they can use their pen, their stylus to really make learning come alive and do some things that they may not know they could do. So I'm going to beg your forgiveness as I show you how my handwriting struggles a little bit, especially when the screen isn't down flat, and go ahead and show you some of what I mean. If I come down here to the pen, I can select, or here in the draw page, I can go ahead and select the pen, and I can start to just write what I want to say. So I have my stylus in hand, and I want to say something like, gorillas seem to have an awful lot of hair. Get some punctuation in there. Why are they so hairy? Question mark. Now, that's just my quick little handwriting there. But one of the beautiful things that OneNote is doing constantly in the background is they are searching the handwritten text and changing it into real text. They know what you're writing. So this is, of course, the moment in the presentation when, if anything can go wrong, it might. But let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to come back to my welcome page, and I'm hoping that nowhere else in my notebook have I typed the word hairy. And so here in the search box, let's see if I go H-A-I-R-Y, and look at that. It pulled up. The research page has the word hairy, and it even highlights for me on the page where I wrote that. Isn't that amazing? It is changing my handwriting to searchable text. My daughter, who's in college, absolutely loves this feature. She recently has started using a Microsoft Surface, the Surface 3, not the Surface Pro, and she loves it. It is just amazing how effective they are, that they can search their handwriting and find the information that they need. Now, another fun thing about that text, if I select out here outside the text, is this button at the top you might have noticed that's called Ink to Text. So what if they decide that, like Mr. Gale, well, their handwriting really isn't that great? Let's see what happens when we have nothing selected. We have some text that we wrote on the screen. What happens if I just touch that button? Not bad. We have just seen my terrible handwriting changed into text that is very neat, and legible. But of course, this is only something that's useful if that's how the child wants to learn. Okay? Now, in any Microsoft program, there is this other feature that's really powerful that I haven't demonstrated yet, and that's the handwriting keyboard. So although I have a real keyboard here at the bottom, attached to my device, let's hit the Enter key a couple times there. And I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page, and I hope you can see it. It is this little keyboard right here. Now, this keyboard is a virtual keyboard, and if I click the virtual keyboard logo, you can switch which keyboard you're actually looking at. There is the traditional one. There is the kind of a split view in case you use your thumbs more. And there's my personal favorite, the handwriting keyboard. Now, in this handwriting keyboard, the Windows operating system is going to capture what you are writing as you write and try to change it into decipherable text. And this time I'm going to go one step further and try some cursive. I really hope that the people who tune in find insert this to be useful. And so it's pretty decent, especially with my handwriting. And of course, it works with print as well. And this particular virtual keyboard is available in any program because it's a Windows-based keyboard that that is the ability to capture, whether it's in Word, whether it's in PowerPoint, wherever you are, that you can capture your handwriting and just be very focused on that modality or that method of input with text and your pen. I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're coming on 7:43, so there's only 15 minutes left, or give or take. Obviously, math is not my thing. 17 minutes left, I guess, in the hour, and I really want to make sure that your questions and concerns are being answered. I'm deeply grateful for the support I have on the back end, who have been answering questions as we go along, and have been helping out with those questions and comments. Obviously, I want you to keep in mind that at Manteca Unified, we are here to help you, and there are people who can help you with whatever your question might be, and you can get a hold of us, of course, on our outreach section. Our contact page is a way to get a hold of anyone at the district office. We also strongly encourage you to interact with your teacher, to interact with everything that they do. Keep the communication going. If they can't help you, of course, the site principal is always a great resource on helping you understand the culture or the teaching strengths or what's being promoted there at the school site. Okay, let's look at that question that came up regarding the math book, the online math book. Daniel asks, when my son tries to do his math off the math book to turn it in online, we're not able to write on the page once he gets to it. Okay, and that's the case because unfortunately, Mr. Castaneda, a lot of that content that is in our Connect Ed book is based on a PDF format. Some of it's interactive, some of it's not. There is a gentleman who is named Jeff Caligari here at the district office, who is our district-wide math coordinator, who can certainly answer the question a little better than I can. The content changes from one grade level to the next and also determines or is based on how the teacher is using the Connect Ed math book. If you're unfamiliar with that, what he's talking about, let's go quickly back to Internet Explorer for a moment to show you those resources at our homepage that we think are crucial for you to know about. So if I jump back over here to Internet Explorer and go back up to the top, at our community page, we have the students, families, and employees section. And particularly on the students page are a lot of the resources that students use. So if we go here to students and over to resources, and we scroll down the page a little bit, here are some of the things that he is talking about. So he's mentioning this one, Connect Ed Math. But notice here there's also lots of other things that can be very helpful to you as a parent. The same software that your child is using, whether it's MyOnReader, whether it's ClassWorks, whether it's OneNote for students, a lot of great resources that you can get a hold of that are very helpful to you. Now, a lot of this content that I took my outline from tonight is available here at OneNoteForStudents.com, and we strongly recommend you give that a try. And it has some interactive lessons that your child can go through that are wonderfully fun because they actually require the child to click where they're told to click before the interactive lesson will advance. So unlike Mr. Gale, who's talking too fast and going too fast, this is a great way to look at the OneNote training from a perspective of a more individualized, maybe a slower approach where the child can click as they go along. This is our Manteca Quick Tip videos that we mentioned. They are few in number at the moment, but we are constantly trying to grow the library and help you with problems that we've seen with learning in OneNote, and also with assisting to override those problems, to overcome those problems, and also to learn how to use the software more effectively. And there are certainly more lessons that we have planned that we're trying to include and create as we go along. I can see at the moment we only have 12 attendees with us, and I hope that not too many people had some problems with connectivity or things like that. We are recording tonight's session and will be available online for your perusal, but we really do hope that you are getting something out of this event. Just a reminder, if we go back to our homepage once again, we do have here at the Family Technology Training page. If you click on that, it will take us to not just our Skype session there, but if we scroll down the page just a little bit, and if I use my Control Plus once again to zoom in, we have these other dates and other events that you can come to attend a live training, if you will, if you have found the Skype session to be a little less effective. A point of clarity has been asked if I answered the question effectively that was asked. I'm not absolutely certain I did, so let me try one more time to make that clear. The question was asked regarding the math book and why, at least I think why, someone can't always interact with it as directly online as they would like to. And part of that is just the format of the math book. There are certain things you can do there. There are certain things you cannot. A lot of our teachers are using OneNote and placing some of the math pages in OneNote as a level of higher interactivity, but I'm really not the expert, and I freely admit that. I'm not the expert to discuss ConnectEd and why it doesn't interact as effectively as we'd like it to, or which sorts of activities are more interactive than others. Our expert on that is Mr. Jeff Caligari here at the district office, and he is our tech coordinator for math here at the district. And he's been an amazing help and asset. In fact, he's one of the guys who is the head of our Tech Champion group as well, who are trying to promote training throughout the district. These are folks selected from every school site to come and be a part of training here at the district office that they then take back to the school site and share ideas, collaboration to make things happen and make things as effective as they can. So anyway, we are down to just 10 minutes of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, this has gone fast for me personally. I have very much enjoyed being with you here tonight, and I'm hoping that we get a few other questions or other things we can demonstrate. If not, I certainly can do that myself. But I do want to point out to you while I'm here on this page that we have provided for you a survey that we hope that you will participate in, and we hope that you'll be honest and tell us if we need to improve. So on the little Take Our Survey link, if I click on that here, that's on this Family Technology Training page. If I click that link, it is going to take me to an Excel survey online, which is another aspect of Office 365 and Excel Online. So this is what the survey looks like. And if you would, before you leave tonight, we would deeply appreciate your taking a moment to navigate over to mantecausd.net and clicking on the link there and sharing what you think about this event, because we do want to improve. We want to do everything we can to help your child and you as the parent be successful in your learning and in your partnership with Mantiki Unified. So if you would, please take the time to glance at that and check out the survey and share your thoughts with us. Okay, so as I glance over here to see if there's any other questions before I come up, the question has come up, where will the tech training be held in Western Ranch? Well, that's at Western Ranch High School, and typically we use a larger room like the cafeteria or the auditorium to get things started, and at that point we move on to classrooms to about a ratio of give or take 30 per one. We'll have multiple teachers there, myself and another teacher who is the Western Ranch Tech Champion, as well as a teacher doing a session in Spanish. So we would love to have you come out next week, 1 week from today, at Western Ranch High School, and share your thoughts, your questions live. And certainly it's a different experience. It's fun to be live together. It's also something I hope you've gotten out of tonight is, of course, the flexibility of being in your own home and learning, hopefully, how you want to learn. Okay, so not seeing a whole lot of other questions popping up right at the second. So there is one more thing I dearly want to show you that I think is a very powerful feature of OneNote, and before we wrap it up tonight. And that is the ability also to draw and erase and manipulate. So here in research, if I wanted to, let's pretend I wanted to take the green and I wanted to draw a very rough, probably very awkward map of Africa. And maybe I wanted to take a different color, perhaps this green highlighter, and shade in the areas where I think that the gorillas have been seen. And this is probably totally inaccurate. I'm just demonstrating a concept. What's great about the OneNote tool is even after you've put ink down on the page, is you of course can use the eraser to remove bits of ink, but you can also use this wonderful Lasso select tool, where if you select the object, like so, you simply make a circle around it. The object is selected and you can change the size. So if your child is doing some kind of a project, they can easily manipulate their graphics. And you can even do fun things like rotate the object. For example, if the world somehow turned upside down, we can go ahead and flip it vertical. And oh no, now Africa looks like some other thing, some other place. So anyway, it's a wonderful tool of the ink and being able to work with that. And the same thing with math. I forgot to mention, last little thought there before we take any other questions, that OneNote has a very powerful built-in calculator. So I should go back to the math section, I suppose, for this little demonstration. And let's say that your child just needed to know some information very quickly, and they didn't want to have to switch to their calculator app. In Microsoft Excel, you hit the equal sign before you start typing in a formula, but in OneNote, you don't have to do that. Let's say 2 times 5 divided by 9 plus 4 equals, enter, and it just calculates it for you. You can also do more advanced things like what is 2 to the power, that's a shift 6 there, the power of 16. 65,536. Oh my goodness. And so anyway, with some simple calculations built right in, and there's even this wonderful tool that I'm not very good at because I'm not a math guy, called Ink to Math up here at the top, where if you select that button, you can write math down and it will preview it for you. So if I want to say something like x squared plus or minus the square root of 2x, it's capturing the information up there and making it legible, and I can even hit the insert key, and now I have this cute little object that is a math object, and if I double tap that, it selects the individual pieces that I can then manipulate and change. If I want to make it, for example, not x squared, but x cubed, it's going to remember where that information is, and overall a very powerful math tool that we would love to see our teachers use more in the classroom. Anyway, we are nearly out of time, guys. So all we've managed to cover is really just some of the initial basics of this. And there's so much more we'd love to talk about. My outline was overly ambitious. It's 3 pages long. All of this, once again, came if we jump back to the welcome page, and I will populate the notebook with this information. If we go to training outline, right here at the very top, OnenoteForTeachers.com, and it is, of course, the students page, and this is what it looks like. So if I visit there just very quickly, jump over to the internet, and wow, I zoomed in tight. We have some powerful tools that these are professionally designed interactive tutorials that Microsoft has created for students, for teachers, for administrators, and they have both the basics. All we covered was this very first one right there. That's it. That's all we managed to get to tonight. And there's so much more. Working faster with OneNote, getting the most out of OneNote, and of course, other things like this was one students might really like. Finishing homework faster in Microsoft OneNote. That's certainly something I know my students would enjoy. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we deeply appreciate your being here tonight. Are there any other last-minute questions that I can try to answer for you before we call it a day? We deeply thank all of your support. Really, we could not be who we are without you, without the parents in the community who do what they do to support their students, to support their teachers, to support education. And we would love to see you as a parent try it out. Try OneNote for yourself. See if you can improve the organization in your life and maybe even figure out some things with your child or show your child some things that help improve his or her learning and make them more effective overall. So once again, I'm going to ask you as a final plea, give us some feedback. Go to mantecausd.net and click on that survey so we can know how we can best help you in the future and what we can do to improve. And of course, there on the same page is the schedule. That's what the survey looks like. And on the same page there is the schedule of our future events. Our next one coming up 1 week from tonight at Western Ranch High School. We are really excited to be out there at the ranch and to interact with any of you who are here tonight or to anyone else who might see this broadcast that we created. Again, we deeply appreciate your support. We are proud to be MUSD. Good night, everybody.